What's going on, y'all? Your boy Darius the Great here, back in for another video. And this time, we got something a little different I'm coming at you guys with. You may or may not have heard that Star Wars Theory apparently has been targeted by Rolling Stone magazine, in some sort of hit piece regarding, his thoughts on Star Wars and, feminism and this, that, and the other. And as someone who was a fan of Star Wars Theory, I kind of want to examine this, right? And I say I was a fan of Star Wars Theory because I used to be subscribed to him, but it wasn't until like a couple of days ago that I decided ultimately to unsubscribe from him, just because you know how it is. Sometimes you follow someone, you subscribe to someone for a long time, and I've been subscribed to him pretty much since, oh god, one of the first episode of his Darth Vader fan film. Whenever that came out, I think that's when I first subscribed to him. And sometimes you just find yourself not really enjoying that person's content as much as you used to. You find that they have a certain opinion that you don't really agree with, and you kind of just get tired of hearing it. That's what it boils down to, man. I feel like Star Wars Theory, more often than not, he's kind of, and this is no shade, no hate to him at all. I think what he's done, as a Star Wars fan, his love for Star Wars, it's great. I like, honestly, I'm a big Star Wars fan. I'm not as big of a Star Wars fan as he is. I wish I could be as big of a Star Wars fan as he is, but his viewpoints on like current day Star Wars, I don't really vibe with it all that much. He very much kind of feels like he's not even kind of. He's very much beholden to George Lucas in a way that's kind of annoying. I'll be honest. It's just like at every turn, it's just like, Lucas this, Lucas that, and I understand Lucas made Star Wars, but sometimes you gotta kind of move on. Like I think Dave Filoni is the closest thing we're getting to like what George Lucas would do with Star Wars, and even that stuff isn't perfect that Filoni's doing. So I want to read this Rolling Stone article with you guys just to kind of examine it and see what it says about him and give my take on it, man. Because this is a big thing. I saw that he made a video talking about it, but I wanted to read the article first before I watched the video. So before we get into this thing, do me a favor, man. Hit that subscribe button, man. Make sure you are joining the cause. Hit the notification bell. Run the likes. Click that thumbs up, man. Run those likes up. And let's go ahead and get into this Rolling Stone article about Star Wars Theory. So, I got the article up here. It says, his guest said women don't like Star Wars. He agreed and sparked an internet debate. Popular streamer Star Wars Theory has brought back a familiar, if unwelcome, internet discourse. This just came out yesterday at the time of recording this. Naya D is the streamer behind Star Wars Theory. I didn't even know that's his real name. Wow, they're really putting out. Is that like common? I don't know. I did not know his name was Nia. I'm gonna say Naya. A channel dedicated to the George Lucas science fiction universe with over 3.3 million subscribers on YouTube alone. Damn. Must be nice. Most of his content revolves around dissecting Star Wars and internet theories, debating casting choices, and discussing new announcements and releases, but also draws viewers by courting controversy. Yeah. During a January episode on Theory Talks, his channel focused on critical theory. He hosted psychologist. Read, please. Psychologist Sadia Khan, who derided Hollywood directors for centering female stories within male-dominated fandoms. Do we need more women in Star Wars? No, we don't, Khan said. And women don't even watch Star Wars. I don't know about that one. They don't even care about it. It's a man's little thing. Let them have it. That's inaccurate. This is the first time the Star Wars fandom has dealt with disagreements surrounding racism and sexism within their own ranks. Following the premiere of the most recent Star Wars films, helmed by actress Daisy Ridley, thousands of fans accused Disney of going woke by having a female lead. Of course they did. In 2017, Kelly Marie Tran became the first woman of color to have a leading role in a Star Wars film. In a 2018 NYT op-ed, she wrote that she received sexist and racist harassment from fans. The words seem to confirm what growing up as a woman and person of color already taught me, that I belonged in margins and spaces, valid only as a minor character in their lives and stories, she said. In 2020, British Actor John Boyega, who played Finn, a black stormtrooper in The Force Awakens, told GQ that after he was cast, he was targeted and harassed by fans. I remember that. I remember the outrage. I remember when the first trailer dropped and it shows Black Stormtrooper. Oh, dude, people were pissed. People were just like, "Oh, Black Stormtrooper! Why is there a Black Stormtrooper?" If only they realized how dumb that sounded, them saying that. Stormtroopers can literally be anybody but aliens. That's the thing. Like, the Empire were racist towards aliens, but if you're a human of any kind, you're good with them, dude. Like, come on now. And in 2022, when black actress Moses Ingram was cast in the Obi-Wan television series, she was so inundated, in whatever word that is, with derogatory DMs that both her fellow castmates and Disney made statements condemning the fan response. So remember that. In fact, each new Star Wars offering, whether a series, a new film, or even a comic book, is often met with staunch criticisms from specific diehard fans accusing the franchise of bending to social justice warrior or feminist desires, something Nia himself has echoed. Yeah, Star Wars has become so political. On both sides, but it is just, a lot of people are just like looking. I think there are definitely moments where there's like a clear agenda based political stuff going on, some SJW type stuff going on. But then there are cases where it's just like certain fans, they will look at any and everything and be like, woke. Moving on. While Nia, whatever, Star Wars Theory, didn't acknowledge the statement during his conversation with Khan, much of the online criticism has centered around his strong and sometimes negative opinions surrounding women characters in the science fiction series and fan spaces, mostly his accusation that Disney executives have been creating and centering female characters as part of an agenda. He's not entirely wrong there, I don't think. Like, there are definitely... Two things can be true, is all I say, right? That's what I usually believe in. Two things can be true. Following the episode with Khan, thousands of fans spoke out against the streamer, accusing him of promoting and platforming sexist and misogynistic views. On TikTok, women began posting clips of themselves enjoying or participating in Star Wars culture with hashtag Women in Star Wars, pushing back against Khan's claims. Videos using the hashtag have over 4.1 million views. After watching Star Wars Theory video, Olivia, a 16-year-old from New York, used audio of the interview to make a TikTok edit showing all the women both in Star Wars and who have enjoyed the series. The video has 2.8 million views and 1,000 additional videos from other TikTok creators using the audio to push back against Khan's claims. Olivia tells Rolling Stone she created the now popular clip to remind people how important women are to the Star Wars fandom. I was surprised at the huge response and how so many people, including female and male Star Wars fans, came together by making their own videos using my sound, she adds. Star Wars was created for everyone. It absolutely was. Like, that's the part I don't get. Like, that psychologist saying, it's a little man's plaything. What? Like, no, that's just dumb. Like, one of the most important characters in Star Wars is Princess Leia. What is she? A woman. Come on now. So we got some tweets here. We're gonna read them. Star Wars Theory pushing the narrative that women aren't fans of Star Wars on his platform by having a psychologist on there saying it's for boys. Wow, so shocked. Who knew he was a piece of shit? Oh, me. I did, and most every other sane fan of Star Wars that I know. I don't know if I would call him a piece of, POS. But he's got his opinions, man. Women have always loved Star Wars, and women have always been a part of Star Wars. You know that, I know that, and those who seek to make a quick buck off of shaming us for being a part of the fandom know that too. They want us to be angry. They're bullies, and we know better. Here we have Ben Hart, the Doctor Who guy. So congratulations to Star Wars Theory and his friends for helping to galvanize the Star Wars female fandom. Women have always made Star Wars. I pause that one. Women have always loved Star Wars. Women will always be a crucially massive part of our community. Those last two, yes, women have always made Star Wars. Pump the brakes. Pump the brakes on that one. That's that. Like that. The more you try to push the false narrative that women are nothing more than opportunists, the more they will absolutely dunk on you and continue to show everyone how much of a clown you are. Yeah, I just think he made a huge mistake going with that narrative that women like aren't for Star Wars or whatever. I want to go and watch the whole thing myself, but just off what they're saying there, if that is indeed true, and I do remember seeing videos pop up about that. When reached for comment by Rolling Stone, Khan said some people are looking for an excuse to be offended because they then can feel like a victim, and feeling like a victim gives them some purpose and meaning in life. When you zoom out of your own entitled lens, you will see that not everything needs to be representative in order to be enjoyable. I think that's fair. I think like the whole like victim complex that's a real thing. I do. Some people do look to be offended at every little thing. However, I do have to say, you're wrong about Star Wars not being for women. That's just a fact, dude. Like, come on now. Like, there are so many female characters. Like, if you look at, like, I don't know. Let's say Star Wars was originally for dudes, even though it was originally for everyone. Let's say Star Wars was for dudes. You know, you got dudes who would get their girlfriends and go watch Star Wars movies and stuff, right? And then the women, if they liked it, they would get hooked. They would then become Star Wars fans. And then also you just have women who by themselves on their own independently enjoyed Star Wars, not even because they enjoyed the female characters in Star Wars, but because they were drawn to the male characters in Star Wars, that they loved the story and the writing and all that other stuff. It's just a very idiotic argument. Star Wars Theory did not respond to Rolling Stone's request for comments, but in a follow-up video acknowledging the backlash, he denied that he was a misogynist and instead said he was simply protective of his favorite series. Yeah, it had nothing to do with being a misogynist or saying women can't enjoy Star Wars, said in a response video. Leave to the extreme left always takes something that is so plainly put and explained so easily and twist it and contort it into their own agenda and narrative. He's protective of his favorite series. Here's the thing. And I made this video on TikTok. I'm not a fan of Rey. I liked her for episodes 7 and 8, even though I hated 8. I liked Force Awakens quite a bit, for the most part. Once Rise of Skywalker happened, I couldn't stand Rey anymore. I was done. I thought she was very much, a character that it was this, alright, this Palpatine stuff. She's way too damn strong. The stuff where her and Kylo can reach through time and space across the galaxy and like grab things off each other. I'm just like, this is stupid, and I can't stand her anymore. I'm done with Rey. When the Rey movie got announced, I was just like, they're really doing this. But then I took a step back and I was just like, I'm not going to watch it. I don't give a damn about the sequel. I'm done with the sequel stuff. I'm done with Rey as a character. So her having a movie, let her have her movie, man. That has nothing to do with me. That's for the fans of the sequels, fans of Rey. Y'all can go enjoy that. I'm good. And that's just my general vibe when it comes to Star Wars, man. If it's not for me, if it's something I don't like, even just in general entertainment, if it's something I don't like, I'm not going to engage with it. And that's where I think like the biggest problem I have with Star Wars Theory is that, he's so staunchly against, the Rey movie. Like, he's been talking a lot about it. I'm just like, dude, you don't have to watch it. And that right there where it says that he's protective of his favorite series, I'm sorry, but you're not the Star Wars police, man. You are not the law. You're not Judge Dredd. I am the law. Like, you're not the law when it comes to what can come out in Star Wars. Simply don't engage. I understand you love it very much. You love George Lucas very much. You love what he did. I understand that. But you gotta also remember, George Lucas sold this shit. He sold this shit and wiped his hands clean of it. That man is enjoying his billions, alright, away from this. Mainly because of the backlash from the prequels, right? Like, a lot of people, the same backlash the sequels get, prequels were getting that shit, and he was just like, you know what, I'm done with it. I'm done, because you fans suck. I'm done. Get me out of here. That is probably, I think that's the biggest reason why I unsubbed from him. And of course, me unsubbing is not going to do a damn thing, but just me unsubbing from him, I was just like, nah, he's acting like the Star Wars police, and I can't vibe with that, bro. I just can't, let them have what they're going to do. I do agree, there are definitely some agendas going on there, but at the end of the day, so what? It isn't, you can choose, the power of choice. You can choose not to engage with it. That's my little rant tangent right there. Paul Booth, a professor of media and popular culture at DePaul University, has researched fandoms for over 20 years and tells Rolling Stone that strong feelings about fandom could often turn to policing behavior. I just said it. Often, misogyny and racism emerge in fan communities because white male fans, or fans who think of themselves as part of the dominant cultures, want to police the boundaries of what they think are acceptable fandom behaviors and interests, Booth says. By belittling and denigrating non-male and non-white fans, these boundary policing fans seem to say this is what the fandom should be. That's kind of what Star Wars theory is, in my opinion. That's my biggest problem. That's my biggest problem with Star Wars fans is, that's not Star Wars. I think there are objective objective moments where you can say this is not Star Wars, right? Like, if freaking Godzilla showed up in a Star Wars movie, you'd be like, this is not, well, there's the Zilla Beast, but if actual Godzilla, showed up with the atomic breath and everything, he's fighting King Kong in a Star Wars movie, obviously it's not Star Wars, right? If someone pulls out a Glock in Star Wars instead of like a blaster, that's obviously not Star Wars. That's why I think in Book of Boba Fett with the damn, the damn mod kids who are modding themselves, I don't think like them modding themselves, like it's kind of like cyberpunk-esque. That was fine. When they got on their damn bikes, their colorful ass, slow-moving bikes, I can understand people being like, this is not Star Wars. I can understand that. There are sometimes objective times where you can say it's not Star Wars, but other times, most of the times, 90% of the time, Star Wars fans, when they say, this is not Star Wars, they're full of it. It's like when Andor came out. Certain people were just like, it's not Star Wars, man. Yeah, it is. It's just more down-to-earth Star Wars. Let's see, let's pick up. It'd be easy to assume there's something specific to the Star Wars story that engenders such passionate and vitriolic responses from longtime fans. But because pop culture at its core mirrors conversations occurring in culture real time, Booth says this is the first time there's been fighting inside the Star Wars fandom, and it certainly won't be the last. You got that right. These debates play out in public spaces like social media, which means there's a lot more attention paid to them. 25 years ago, that argument would probably have been at a convention or in specialty magazine, or on like message boards, right? Today, it's public, which means we can all read it and benefit from seeing which people are stuck in some imagined past and which people are more inclusive. And while loud detractors can produce strong feelings in fans who disagree, Professor Kate Etchhorn from the New School tells Rolling Stone that debates like these might indicate even popular franchises are beginning to become more diverse. They definitely are. They're becoming more diverse, they're becoming more political at the same time. They're also becoming a hell of a lot more toxic. The cultural impact of fandom since the 1980s have been largely driven by the interventions of queer and BIPOC writers and illustrators, many of whom identify as women. So it is important to recognize that there's nothing new about fandoms. If male-dominated fandoms are on the rise because a small percentage of straight white male viewers no longer feel adequately represented by the franchises they grew up watching, maybe that's not a bad thing, since one can look at the rise of these fandoms as evidence of how much has changed in television and film industries in recent decades. Man. So there you have it, the Star Wars Theory hit piece, as it was called, right? Would I call it a hit piece? I mean, what's the actual definition of a hit piece? Like, is there supposed to be like some lies in there or something? I don't know. It definitely does not paint him in any good light. It does not talk about the good things, the good content that he puts out in his channel, right? His like fan fiction stuff, his theories, his fan film, that he's doing. Like, Star Wars Theory puts out some legitimate good content, man. It's just some of the more recent ones when it comes to talking about politics and talking about women and talking about the sequels and different stuff and different things that happen in Star Wars. Some of that's just not, it's not good. It's a bit toxic. It feeds into a toxic narrative. Here's the thing, man. There's quite a bit that I agree with Star Wars Theory on when it comes to how Disney is treating Star Wars. I think it's been up and down, right? I think there's been some high highs like Mandalorian and Andor and Ahsoka, even though that also had some problems that I had problems with it. The finale of Obi-Wan was phenomenal, right? But then there are some low lows, man. The sequel trilogy, the parts of Obi-Wan where instead of focusing on Obi-Wan and Anakin like the story should have been about, you're focusing on Reva, and certain stuff is just not up to par. Although that Vader Reva fight where Vader was just waving, just you can't touch me. Shit was awesome. I rewatched that scene often. But yeah, certain stuff in Disney Star Wars is not good. Certain stuff in Disney Star Wars is driven by politics and by an agenda. 100% agree with that. But I think, like I said, Star Wars theory kind of has this policing attitude when it comes to what Star Wars should and should not be. And ultimately, I don't think that does good for anybody, you know? Like, at the end of the day, it's a piece of entertainment, and I understand how important it could be, how important it is for him. I've heard him talk about how important Star Wars is for him, you know? Star Wars, for me, is probably the franchise I love the most. You know, like I love Marvel, I love DC, I love Dragon Ball Z. But Star Wars, there's nothing quite like Star Wars when Star Wars is hitting. So like I get it. But I think I can remove myself. I don't think he can. I can remove myself and sit back and be like, all right, some Star Wars stuff can come out. What is for me? What is not for me? All right? I will engage with the stuff that's for me. All right? And if I love it, I will gush about it. If I hate it, I will dog on it, right? And if there's stuff that's not for me, I'm not going to engage. That's just how I am. I'm not the type to be like, that's not Star Wars. That's not what Star Wars should be. You know, it should be like this. And you know, they're murdering, they're killing George Lucas's creation. You want to know? You want to know what's going to be the litmus test if Disney has killed Star Wars? Let those movies come out and see if they flop, right? If the Rey movie flops, I don't think that's an indication because, again, very divisive, you know, character and point in time, the sequel era. If that movie flops, we'll not be surprised. I don't think it's going to because it's a Star Wars movie, and I think there's enough people who love that character and love the sequels that will go watch it, right, and support it. But if the Mandalorian and Grogu movie comes out and it's not a hit, it's a flop, no one watches it, got some issues. If Dave Filoni's movie comes out and it's like Heir to the Empire, but people don't go watch it, it flops, underperforms, then that's when you can start saying, oh yeah, Disney's killed Star Wars. But until then, man, can't really say that. But anyway, those are my thoughts on the whole Star Wars theory controversy, right? Let me know in the comments your thoughts on it, man. Be sure to leave a like, hit that subscribe button, man, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.